Hi, welcome to our AutoCAD series. Right now we're going to introduce you to the interface for AutoCAD. Now, what I've done is I've just started up AutoCAD. Now, our AutoCAD, we're running the 2012 version right now. We'll update to the 2013 or 14 as time allows and as the budget allows. But for right now, what you're seeing is the basic setup for AutoCAD. This is what it comes up to when it starts up initially. Now, my desktop right now is white with a grid on it to draw on. Our pull-down menus are actually a ribbon bar at the top here. See this ribbon? This is where you select your drawing tools and things from, and you've got your home tools, it has your draw tools, modify, your layers, your annotations. Now, annotations, we'll show you some other stuff with it in a minute, blocks, etc., etc. As you go down, you'll notice there's another box right here that says annotations. Well, this is another ribbon that allows you to do more detailed annotation information. So if I pull it up, it allows me to do more things, call-outs, bubbles, etc., etc. Inserts allows me to insert things. I can insert everything from an actual drawing to a DWG file to another DXF file, which is a exchange file. I can do lots of different things up there. We've got view tools, we've got parametric tools, managing outputs, plugins, etc. Most of the time for this class, we'll spend most of your time in the home ribbon, or some of it will be done on the anode ribbon. Now, it needs to be noted by you right now, I learned AutoCAD way back when it was like AutoCAD 9. That's like 20 versions back. I still draw and I still teach people how to draw using DOS commands, which we use down here on the command line. The interesting part about the DOS commands is it doesn't matter where my cursor is. If I type, it automatically goes to the command line unless it's text. So it doesn't matter where my cursor is. I can type and I can use my space bars and enter key in AutoCAD and just draw. Now, if you'll also notice, right down here in the corner are the coordinates we use. Now there's 3 sets. As I move my cursor, you'll notice only 2 sets are actually changing. That's because I am working in an X and a Y axis, but I can draw in the 3rd dimension with a Z axis, but we're not going to teach you that right now just because we don't want to end up with 3-dimensional drawings, because in engineering, most of our drawings are still done orthographically. The 3-dimensional will come in the parametric sections, which comes later on after you've learned to do the right orthographic drawings. So, that said, let's show you how to open up a few things, how to move around in the interface. So, first off, the F buttons across the top of your screen, the F1 through F12, most programs don't use it. In AutoCAD, we use them all the time. In fact, if I press the F1 button, give it just a second, and it's going to pop up my help window. Okay, AutoCAD Exchange, browse for help. I've got interactive online help at all times. So as I'm working, let's get in here, I can actually type in a search anywhere and I can find it. Now let's close that one. I also have my F2 button. Now look at the command prompt right here. Now when I hit the F2 button, what you'll notice is this is just that command line blown up for me. If I press F2 again, it toggles it back off. It just opens up a broader window so I can see more on it. The F3 button controls my object snaps, or O snaps. Now that's the same thing as this button right here. So I've got all these buttons down here that do the same thing that these function keys do. I just like the function keys because it moves things faster. F4 is our tablet, at least it used to be, I don't know what it is anymore. It's our 3D O snap. Okay. F5 is our isoplane. F6, if I remember right, is our dynamic UCS, and F7 I know is our grid. It turns it off. I usually turn mine off. F8 is our ortho lock, which locks us so we can only draw horizontally or vertically on our screen. F9 is the snap, which, let's turn the grid back on, F9 allows us to only draw to the grid. Okay. F10 is our polar snap, and then F11 and 12, let's not worry about them right now. Alright, so that's most of our function keys. There's usually a cheat sheet that comes with AutoCAD, or your teacher will tell you that. Some of these other buttons down here allow us to choose between model space and paper space, how our screen's split up, our scaling on our screen, etc., etc. Now our scaling on our screen, I'll tell you right now, in my classroom, in my professional practices, we've always drawn 1:1 or full scale. You can scale it in the printing, but if you draw it real life, full scale, you don't have to worry about, is this part drawn to the right scale and is the part that I'm attaching to it drawn to the same scale. If everything's drawn full scale, it doesn't matter, it's always going to be right. because everything is the size it is supposed to be. So we usually stay with that. Now, one other thing. In a lot of the stuff we use, it talks about some old school commands like zoom, extents, or zoom all. All right. Well, if I just type Z and enter and A and enter, it's going to zoom all. But things like layers, you used to be able to just type in the command LA and it'd pop up and it'd let you go to the layer menu. Okay. And it'd do it all down here at the command prompt. Well, we don't use that anymore. When I type LA, it pops up a window for me to work in. And it's so much easier to work in this window than it used to be in the old one. I can add layers. I can freeze layers. I can delete layers. I can make a layer current. Well, all that stuff can also be done right here at our layer command bars. Okay? See, I can add layers, I can subtract layers, I can move layers up and down, freeze, thaw, etc. So it's really pretty easy to function in the program. It's quite intuitive compared to what it used to be. So as you're working, we try to keep things simple and straightforward. Now, one last thing before I go. We're going to show you how to print and plot in just a second. I'm going to pull up a random drawing, show you how to open and print and plot it. But you'll notice one thing as we draw, all of our layers, everything we do, our line types, our line thicknesses, our line colors, are always controlled by layer. We create a layer for every new thing we draw because sometimes you only need certain layers on, and we want to be able to just turn that layer off and have it out of the way, or pull it off and give it to somebody else to work on their part of the project. We don't always need all the layers. And if we leave everything on a layer, that means it's in the right spot. Like we name layers logically. Like if we're drawing a floor plan, our doors will be on a layer called first floor doors or first floors. Our cabinets will be on first cabinets. If they're upper cabinets, it'll be first upper cabinets. If it's like plumbing, it'll be like first plumbing. If it's first floor walls or first floor poche for the filling of the walls, it's first walls or first poche. And I mean, we try to make it make sense, to make everything so it is logical and intuitive to the viewer and to the operator. So with that said, let's show you how to open a file real quick. So I'm just going to open. I'm just going to open up one of our exercise files. Now, if you look right here, this is where we've put our exercises, and we've done this for a reason. On our directory, I have a shared drive for all of our students to use. It's the S drive, it's shared. I have a folder in there for myself, and there's one for pretty much every teacher in the department. And I have all of our files in our class. Well, this is for the pre-engineering or the Tech 1 class, and so right now we're using the pre-engineering classes. So I'm going to open up the pre-engineering, and in there I've got practice drawings, samples from Test Bank, I've got a wheel project for the kids to work on. But right now I want to open up one of the AutoCAD exercises. Well, here's our exercises. This is taken from our textbook we use. This is from AutoCAD Fundamentals Using Paper Pencil Sketches. It's an older book. It actually was written for AutoCAD, I believe, 12. And that's quite a ways back, but the drawings are still good, and they're still really straightforward instructions to do it, and that's what these videos are for. So let's say I just want to open up one of these. So let's pick one down the line somewhere like, say, number 18-1. So I just pick the file I want, pick open. Now it always pops up this because that exercises are on a read-only drive, so I can't save to it. So I say yes, I'll still open it, and it's going to pop it up. Well, right now I've got a title block. Now, can you see my problem with the grid? It kind of hides my title block right now. So I'm going to turn the grid off. Okay, so I'll just go in, I'll do my drawing as I'm instructed to in my text. When I'm done with it, I can either type in Save As and press Enter, or I can go up to my pull down up here and do the same thing. It gets me the same box. Once I'm there, I'll save that to my user drive, and my user drive, my name's Tim Benson. Okay, and there's my user drive. It's our U drive at our school. You just go Tim Benson, save it to our U drive at our school. It's usually our student's number, our student identification number, you know, whatever we're using that year, and I put it in the right folder. In this case, I'd put it in the pre-engineering folder, and there I'd put it in there and drop it off with whatever we needed to. Okay, so like here you see some of our other stuff. We've got some Celtic knots we make the students draw, geometric views, map borders, OG curves, etc. So I just put it in here. I save it as the right file name, hit the save button, and it's there. That's all it takes. Now if I'm ready to print it, I simply come up here to our print button, or I can type in plot. Pops up the same menu either way. Now in our case, we print usually to our HP LaserJet in our lab. Well, I make sure it's on that one, or we can pick one of the other ones as needed, or I can save it to a PDF if I want, but I'm going to save it to there. It's on a letter size sheet. Now this is a preview of what I'm getting. Okay, is it going to fit? Looks like it. But I always want to tell it to go to extents in our files. In this case, I quite often tell it to center it, and instead of fit to paper, I don't like fit to paper. I prefer one-to-one plotting. See what happens? It fits on the paper. But before I print, I always tell everybody to preview. It's always easier to preview instead of waste the paper and figure out what you did wrong. If it looks right here, then you're good to go. I'll hit the enter key. And all I'm printing right now is a title block. So I'll hit that enter key to get us back to our preview, but our window. And then I just have to hit OK right here, and it prints. That's all it takes. Now, thank you for your time. I'm going to cancel this because I really don't want to just print a title block. And we will let you all go on to the next video and get used to how our textbook is supposed to be integrated into this. And then from there, we'll get you into the exercises. Thank you for your time.